Okay, thank you, everybody. So it should say becoming unapologetically oneself. That's my topic for tonight. Really excited to speak. It's going to be pretty powerful. I don't know a whole lot, but what I do know I'm going to share, and I'm really excited for it. So this is Tayson in 2016. A little bit different hair. Kind of went from top to bottom, but this is the happiest that I'd ever been 5 years ago. So this is me living in West Jordan. I was doing solar sales for Blue Raven. Made no money, pretty much bottomed out and came back home. But I was with my sister. I grew my hair out. I went to like a space camp, so I got to do some pretty cool things that summer. For me, it was very much a process of like self-exploration. And there are a few lessons that I've learned that I've been able to, I guess, understand and recognize these last few weeks, and it's been really cool. So I'm going to share 3 of those lessons with you. First one is self-love, or I guess self-worth. That is a massive one, right? And so I think the reason, probably the biggest reason I was so happy that summer was because I loved who I was, right? So this is not a good-looking dude, right? So I knew people didn't like me for my looks. There's no track or cross-country, which I did. So there were a lot of reasons that were kind of taken away for why I felt people might like me, right? And the people that were in my life, that stayed in my life, I had my sister, I had some friends in Boise, some friends I met down in West Jordan. I knew that they loved me for who I was, and that was really powerful, and that got passed on to me. So I knew that they loved me for my character, and nothing outside of that. And so coming to know who we are inside is really powerful. I think the greatest source of this comes from Jesus Christ. These are probably my favorite pictures of Christ. I don't know why they're always of him, straight-faced or sad. Obviously, he passed through some hard things, right? I think Christ is a very happy guy. There's a lecture, or I guess more of a sermon, by a pastor named Dan Mohler. Really cool. It's called The Power of Love. I really, really enjoy it. And he talks about how we kind of backbite each other sometimes. We talk behind each other's backs, say not kind things. And so he's kind of imagining Christ walking up the hill to Golgotha as he's going to be crucified. And he's walking up there and he's thinking, man, Judas, what a bum. Like 30 pieces of silver. Are you kidding me? Peter, my chief apostle, I even told you you'd reject me, and you did. Right, and that's so silly for us to imagine. That's weird for us to think that Christ would say that, right? I think more Christ was full of love for what he would do for us, right? I think he was thinking more like Morgan, I love you so much. I'm so excited for you to do these things in your life, and I'm glad I can be there for you every step of the way, right? So he's thinking of, wow, like, how can I help them? I'm so happy to do this service for you. And I guess to conclude this point, I think if Christ is willing to die on the cross for us, that's our self-worth right there. Christ deemed us worthy of his love. And I think that's really powerful. And so as we come to see that, or if you don't believe in Christ, you have to act on some set of beliefs that keep you stable. Right? So for me, that's Christ. I know he's my Savior. And so next, after that is self-confidence, right? So we have self-worth / self-love, and then we have confidence in who you are, right? So there's nobody else on this earth that can do what you can do, that can replace who you are. And I think that's really powerful as well. You don't get a rerun. This is the one time that you have to do this. So we need to make it worth it, right? So let's shout out. It kind of says on the front. Does anybody know what this is right here? Rock tumbler. Okay, you don't really have many images that, like, no one knows what it is. So you have to label it, right? So what does a rock tumbler do? Let's have someone shout it out again. Okay, polishes rocks, shines rocks, right? Exactly. So we'll do 2 clicks. So little synopsis, right? So the purpose of a rock tumbler is to smooth something that is rough, to make something beautiful that is ugly, right? And so in this process of life, we have one go at it. I've come to learn that you might as well be real. You might as well be yourself, right? There's no point in trying to please others, to do things that they want you to do. We're here to be ourselves, right? Because no one can replace us. And so in this process of life, it's kind of like a rock tumbler, right? We go through our trials, our persecutions, our challenges, and that's pretty difficult, right? So I think it's kind of foolish to go through life being someone that you're not, because we're suffering either way, right? I don't have this memorized, so I'm just going to read this. But if suffering in life is inherent, you might as well suffer for who you are meant to be, rather than suffer trying to be something you're not. Polishing souls is a long and painful process, so it's worth your time to make sure you have the right ingredients in there. Right, so living to please others, I realized I've done that quite a bit. Or maybe this would be a good choice, is what they're telling me, and I follow them. And as I'm remembering these lessons the last couple of weeks of doing what you're meant to do, being you, loving yourself, it's so much more powerful. And lastly, so we have self-worth, we have self-confidence, and then we have doing hard things. This is probably my favorite that I've experienced the last couple of weeks. So every time you have an opportunity, right, this is like a road sign off of a highway, there's an opportunity cost. So for every choice you make every day of your life, there's an opportunity cost. Right? So by going, say, to Morty's instead of the marketplace, you're going to miss out on the marketplace, right? Simple example. I prefer Morty's. Sweet potato fries are fantastic.
Yeah!
There we go. Let's go next slide. Okay, so as we're choosing what we need to, I guess, sacrifice, right? Because opportunity cost is a sacrifice of some sort. I think basic human nature is to do what's easy, right? To not make the hard choice, to go with the flow. Right? That's what rivers do. I think that's what we do a lot of the time too. Do what's easy and just kind of end up where you go. But my biggest fear in life is to get to the end of my life and recognize that I wasted my potential. That I didn't live up to what I could do, that I didn't impact as many people as I could. And that's kind of scary to me. Right? So this is a quote from Jordan Peterson. Love Jordan Peterson. Lakin had it right. This is in 12 Rules for Life. He says, "It was for this reason that Nietzsche said that a man's worth was determined by how much truth he could tolerate. You are by no means only what you already know. You are also all that which you could know if you only would." That's pretty deep. "Thus, you should never sacrifice what you could be for what you are. You should never give up the better for what resides within, for the security you already have. And certainly not when you have already caught a glimpse, an undeniable glimpse of something beyond." And that was super frustrating for me, right? These last 5 years, I haven't been, in hell, but it's been tough, right? Having that great level of happiness and joy of just loving yourself every morning, getting out of bed, and taking a step back, that's difficult, right? That's frustration to me, is knowing that you can be something greater, but you don't know how to achieve it. And that brings us to sacrifice, if I'm doing this. There we go. So this is an altar, right? Altar of sacrifice, whatever religion you go back to, whatever culture, China, wherever you go, I'm sure they do it. All right, so that's sacrifice. Sacrifice is where you give up something to get something better. All right, so I'm familiar with the Bible. So you sacrifice an animal to please God, right? So that's something better, a better reason. And it's pretty interesting. So I don't know if y'all have ever heard of the little experiment, I guess not experiment, hunting tactic for monkeys, right? So this is not a coconut, but imagine this is a coconut, and it's fastened to the ground, right? It's not moving. And there's a prize in there. And so the monkey goes up to get the prize, whether that's fruit, a little toy, I'm not sure, right? But he sticks his hand in, so I can do this one. And as soon as he grabs what's inside, his fist is too big for the opening, right? So you try and pull it out, it's not going to come out. And then the trapper will walk right up, grab the monkey, caught, right? And so something else Jordan Peterson says is the animal is not willing to sacrifice the part to preserve the whole. And that's a cool concept, right? So if we're not willing to sacrifice, put the things on the sacrificial table, the parts of us that we want to get rid of, that's pretty scary, okay? If we're not willing to give up something inside of us, maybe the inner animal inside of us, for something that's better, that's higher, that's more holy, that makes us better in the long run, then you're going to be stuck in the same place, and that's really scary, and I don't want that at all. So kind of in closing, this is a quote by Leo Tolstoy. He wrote War and Peace, great Russian author, fantastic. And a little precursor to this, so here's a calendar. I don't have it yet. He's just not responding. It's kind of tough, but there's a website. I'm trying to get a calendar. Anyways, it says Memento Mori at the top, and then it's got a bunch of boxes for 80 years worth of weeks in your life. Right, so tons of blocks for weeks. And at the bottom, you can pick a quote, and I love this quote by Tolstoy. And see if I can get it. It says, Memento Mori, remember your death, it means in Latin. These are important words. If we kept in mind that we will soon inevitably die, our lives would be completely different. If a person kept in mind, if a person knows that he will soon die in half an hour, he certainly will not bother doing any trivial, stupid, or especially bad things during this half hour. Perhaps you have half a century before you die. What makes us any different from a half hour? Right, and that's kind of changed how I view things this last little bit. Not to throw shade on Instagram, but I spent a lot of time on there, right? Reels are pretty addicting. You just keep going and going and going. That's kind of a waste of time because we don't know when we're going to exit this life. Right? Going back to opportunities, we don't know how long these people will be in our life. So with opportunities, that's something we got to act on. We got to do those uncomfortable things that we're not used to doing. I think for every good thing that comes in your life, there has to be some sort of sacrifice. I haven't found anything in my life that contradicts that. So for every good thing that you want to come, there has to be some sort of something that you give up. Right? So instead of going the easiest route, let's do some hard things. Let's do the things that make you uncomfortable. Guys, go get a girl's number. There's a lot of things you can do, right? Girls, go apply for that job. I don't know, like, what are your goals, right? Go do the van life. That was my goal 5 years ago. It's changed, but I'm trying to pursue what I want to do, right? So let's just do what we can to not get to the end of our life and kind of look back at a failure. That's really scary to me. That was the biggest regret of nursing home, what's it called? Not nursing home, hospice care, right? Is not doing the things they wish they would have done. They didn't follow their dreams. So all in all, the biggest 3 lessons from 5 years ago that I've remembered, have been blessed to recognize, and I'm trying to apply in becoming unapologetically oneself, are loving oneself for your worth, and because of no other reason, because of who you are, and that you are unique and no one can replace you. Of having confidence in that you might like some weird things, right? I like having big hair and like wearing short shorts and playing a lot of card games, okay? So there's a lot of weird things that make me me, and that's okay, and I'm okay with that, right? And the last thing is doing uncomfortable things. Those are going to help you grow. Those are going to help you sacrifice the things inside of you that are not maybe best to achieve those best things. That's all I have for you guys tonight. So thank you.